The first program, what Awaken call AWKN-001, is targeting severe alcohol use disorder for the UK and EU markets. That program is in phase 3, which is the final phase before, subject to successful completion of that program, seeking approval to launch a drug in market. The results of that program achieved in phase 2 were groundbreaking.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Salvonis Therapeutics CEO, Anthony Tennyson. Anthony, very good to speak with you. You're out with news today that Awaken shareholders have approved the proposed acquisition of Awaken by Salvonis. What's next?
Thank you, Stephen. Good to talk to you and your audience again today. Yes, that's correct. Salvonis Therapeutics is seeking to acquire Awaken Life Sciences Corp, and we're doing that so as to build a leading biotechnology company focused on addiction and mental health, which are conditions with large addressable markets, poor current standards of care, and therefore significant unmet medical needs. Yesterday, Awaken's shareholders voted overwhelmingly in favor of the acquisition of Awaken by Salvonis. In fact, over 99% of Awaken's shareholders voted in favor of the transaction. So that is a great endorsement for the value that Awaken's shareholders see in bringing the two companies together, and the potential that we have in developing new and effective therapeutics for the treatment of addiction and mental health, and providing hope for the individuals, families, and communities who are not served well by the current treatment options for those diseases.
Anthony, can you take us through the terms of the deal and what you're acquiring?
Yes, happy to do so, Stephen. So we're seeking to acquire Awaken for in and around 5 million sterling in an all-stock transaction. And what we are acquiring, the key assets that we're really acquiring and that we're interested, are Awaken's 2 clinical stage programs targeting alcohol use disorder. The first program, what Awaken call AWKN-001, is targeting severe alcohol use disorder for the UK and EU markets. That program is in phase 3, which is the final phase before, subject to successful completion of that program, seeking approval to launch a drug in market. The results of that program achieved in phase 2 were groundbreaking, Stephen. People coming onto that trial were sober 2% of the time. So that means they were sober 7 days a year. Those that went through the active arm of the trial in the AWKN-001 program that we're acquiring, they achieved on average 86% sobriety in the 6 months post-treatment. So moving from 2% on average to 86% sobriety on average is revolutionary in the treatment for alcohol use disorder. So we're very, very excited about acquiring that program. It's in phase 3, as I mentioned. In Salvonis, we've retained the services of Pharma Ventures, a leading biotech M&A and commercialization advisory company, to help us understand what that program could ultimately be worth to Salvonis as we seek to progress it and probably ultimately bring in a commercial partner. And they've said comparable assets at that stage of development could potentially earn in the region of 60 million sterling in milestones and success payments, and a significant double-digit future royalty on net sales. So given the fact that we're acquiring Awaken for in and around 5 sterling all paper, and one of the assets that we're acquiring, typical similar assets, generate in and around 60 sterling in success and milestone payments and future double-digit royalties, we're excited about that particular asset. We're also excited about a second program that Awaken has, which is called AWKN-002. That's targeting moderate to severe alcohol use disorder, specifically in the US market. And that's in phase 2B planning. And again, we've asked Pharma Ventures to run a comparables assessment for us. And very interestingly for us, that program, which is in phase 2B, if that program was to successfully complete phase 2B, Pharma Ventures have advised that similar assets could be expected to command 150 million sterling in success and milestone payments, and again, the same double-digit future royalties on net sales. So we believe the fact that we're acquiring Awaken for in and around 5 all stock, And the assets that we're acquiring that we're particularly interested in, those 2 clinical stage programs, could potentially generate in aggregate 200 million sterling in milestone payments and success payments and future double-digit royalties. We believe this is quite a compelling value creation opportunity for Salvonis' shareholders, and really, really importantly for us, helps accelerate the development of new effective treatments for alcohol use disorder and provide, as I said before, provide hope for the individuals, families, and communities who aren't currently being served well by the available treatments for alcohol use disorder.
Anthony, the significance of the acquisition for Salvonis as a company?
It's all part of our journey and our desire to establish Salvonis as a leading UK domiciled, UK listed biotech focused on addiction and mental health, which, as I said before, are conditions that have large addressable markets. Alcohol use disorder affects 40 million people in the UK, main EU markets, and the US markets. The current treatment options are inadequate for that condition. And also Awaken have a third program focused on PTSD, which again affects many millions of people for which there are currently no licensed medications. So it's a strategically significant development for us to have secured the support of the vast majority of Awaken's shareholders for the completion of this acquisition. And as I mentioned before, believe it's a significant value creation opportunity for Salvonis' shareholders, given the fact we're acquiring assets with comparable valuations in and around 200 million for 5 million sterling paper.
And so I hope you'll keep us updated on any further progress. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Take care. Thank you.
Anthony Tennyson, the CEO of Salvonis Therapeutics.